Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the BLIGHTER progress video. In this one we'll be focusing on Outpost Civil and the Frozen Tower. And as you can already see, I'm going straight into footage, no introduction or anything, because I know you're here to see the progress of the map that I'm currently working on, which I appreciate. As you can see for Outpost Civil, what we decided to do was place walls and towers around a mountain face to try and enclose it in, and you can see I'm filling out all the inside with dirt, so it makes it easy to place buildings or training areas that I choose. This first building you can see me working on is going to be the living quarters, and I'll even give you a montage of me building it. Now with all being fully built, we can copy it and decide to put it in the corner of which it'll be most accessible. And the next building we'll be working on is going to be the weaponsmith, which I'm not going to do a montage of because it's a lot smaller. However, I will do a montage of me decorating it with all the weapons and tools that you need for smithing. Now with the final props put in place, when we take a wider view of this area, we can see it's looking more detailed, but it's still a very barren place. So what I decided to do is, after completing the inside of the living quarters, because it's explorable of course, we decided to go outside and start working on a training area, since this will be a military camp. We also add in details such as wooden platforms connecting all the different buildings and entrances. Now to add even more to the military camp aesthetic we have going on here, I decided it would be best to implement some sort of siege machinery here. So you'll see that I'll choose to design a ballista, of which you'll see here. Now in the maps I build, I'm not usually good at sculpting, but the way that this ballista came out, I'm really glad with the design that it came out with it. Obviously you'll see me placing this across the entire camp later on as well. Of which you can literally see in this next clip right here, where I place the platforms around, and I also place the ballista on top of them as well. Make sure you put it on every single edge inside. Maybe I'll make it a way so you can actually shoot them in the mechanics video. I also put some minor props as well, such as the lamps along the pathway or lights inside houses, as well as putting the casual wagon in the middle of the campsite as well. Now I can definitely see the campsites coming along a lot better. But what I decided to do was add some very basic watchtowers, as well as putting some wooden walls and barricades around the lower parts of this camp, just to make it a lot more defendable, as well as all the different crossbows on the side, which you can see on this cliff edge here. It's looking a lot more defendable as a military camp now. However, the bottom is still very basic and very sparse looking, So you'll see later on I'll be able to add more detail of it, which is right here. Hey, Ed here. I actually forgot to show this piece, but I got the footage for it before. You can see I added canisters for the ballista bolts in here, as well as adding some wooden platforms as well that you can carry the weapons on as well. As you can see, it's coming along a lot nicely with all being detailed with all the lamps and that now. Oh yeah, and this is the frozen area. You want a montage of that? Yeah, I'll also be talking over this short montage but just for a little while, because the original plan of this was to do some sort of barracks military thing, but due to the outpost already doing that, I decided to opt for a wizard tower instead, which could also be a good explanation of why this area is all snowy and full of ice. We also decided to add to the magical aesthetic by adding some ice spikes pointed towards and outwards towards the tower as well. Just adds like some sort of sense of power that this tower is able to give off just by the pure aura around it. I'll also take this time to talk about the area that I did as well. You can see I swapped out the mountains to be all snowy mountains, as well as using the VFX editor to add in some sort of snow as well, so it looks like it's always constantly snowing in some sort of blizzard here. Now the tower itself is looking really nice, but the base of it is looking very bland, so I think we should add a bit more detail to that. Of which you can see I'm adding some frozen statues, which will kind of act as like soldiers who try to fight against the wizard in this area, but got frozen in the meantime. You can also see that I put some fog down to make it all ominous as well. As well later on, you can see me putting down mannequins as well, to make it look like characters frozen in ice, or even stuck in the snow as well. And for the props we decided to use, most of it staying the same, but we did use a lot of props from the castle period, you know, since technically Ice King owns this place, as well as using unique torches giving off a different kind of light as well, and filling in an empty space which is boxes and crates as we usually do, while also turning this tower into some sort of library with books and chairs and reading areas as well. I also put this giant frozen statue at the entrance of the tower to kind of be like its sort of protector. And after adding a few more ice spikes to the outwards of it, that's the tower done, which you can get a wide shot view here, which looks pretty cool. Now it's time to move to the next area. Now because every farm is unique and has a different building inside of it, you can see in this footage here we're using the terrain to move them apart to add a river, of which I'm doing this to the other side as well, which connects to the fishing village, expanding out to that open area there. As you see, it's looking very nice. It's a nice little area that in the next episode we can probably add like a bridge. But onto the actual farm itself, what we decided to do is add a water wheel type thing, of which will be powered by it, which is unique to every other farm. Also later on we added the foundation to it, and you can see in the next clip of footage we also start adding the walls, of which we'll do also another montage of me building it. Now that all the infrastructure is built, we're able to start working on all the props inside the building, which is, customary. You've seen all these props before. Just this time we make sure to include the hay like the previous one, since this will be a mill. And we finish off the top with chimneys, and that should be the mill done. But it still isn't unique enough, we still have more to do. So, we get started by building more windows inside the building, and also building up the actual wheat fields themselves. As well as building the other customary things, like lighting inside the building, as well as wagons outside, and we also make sure to build fences around the crop field as well. Well, you can see here that we're getting rid of a certain patch of land here. It's because we wanted to do something unique. So, we built ice spikes around the snow biome, which, add aesthetic to it to make it a bit better. But more importantly, we put one giant ice spike in the middle of this, and later on you'll see the fact that we add snow, as well as VFX to it, to make it blend in very well. But with that, that's the end of this video. Obviously, the next part will be focusing on all the minor things like pathways and that, due to the fact of all the major big buildings being done. Make sure to wait until that one. Any ideas you have or want me to implement, make sure you comment them. See ya.